Another thing I was curious about was your JV research.
JV research, yeah, that's obviously most people don't know if they don't know, it's joint venture.
Mm-hmm.
Joint venture is an amazing thing for online marketing, for any form of marketing. Let me tell you what it is. I'll give you an example that explains it better. A while back ago, I wanted to have a seminar, or in this case, webinar, teaching online.
Sure.
And the webinar was about online marketing for yoga studio owners. Well, I only knew one or two yoga studio owners. You know, Yas and Venice Beach and a few others. But I was looking for hundreds of owners, otherwise teaching to one or two people is not very profitable. So what I did was I used social networking sites. I located a source that already had 50,000 yoga studio owners and yoga professionals, members of that service, and I made a deal with them. I had a joint venture where they would blast the email a couple of times to market my webinar, and in return, whatever I sold at the webinar, a percentage would go to them. It's interesting because within 2 weeks I had my webinar, and how many we had, the software we used for this teaching webinar could only handle 250 attendees for whatever reason. We had to teach 3 versions of it because close to 700 people registered for my webinar. Wow. That shows you the power of joint venture. I only knew 2 yoga studio owners, but within 2 weeks in my webinar, I had 700 yoga studio owners and other yoga professionals registered for my webinar, which was a great webinar. And it was due to the fact that instead of me doing what others do in a wrong way, try to go use Facebook or LinkedIn to connect to 700 yoga studio owners, and that takes for a long time, they don't even know who I am. I went to one source who already knew these people, who had established rapport and trust with them. So instead of me coming say, let me introduce you to myself, a third party, that gives me credibility, a third party went to his own sources and friends and business contacts and say, hey, I know Koz, I know his business, I know his webinars, it's great. Now I'm telling you, you might want to consider attending his webinar. That's a power of joint venture. You will find an entity, a person or business that already has access to your customers. So instead of you going finding one customers yourself through social media, through SEO, search engines, with one shot, another person who already has those contacts, they will talk about you and market yourself. So, but the last question is, why should they do this for you? Why should this entity, in this case, send email blast to 50,000 yoga studio owners in order to have 700 people register for my webinar? Again, I gave this entity incentive. In this case was percentage of sales. But sometimes they don't want money. Sometimes you scratch their back, they scratch your back. So if you already have a business contacts, you can then reach to your business contacts and promote the other side. So, or it could be that, let's say you have nothing to offer. Don't give up. Let's say I am looking for hundreds of people that you happen to know, Jenny.
Yes.
And I ask you, Jenny, I have a seminar and I want you to let everybody in your group know about my seminar. And you say, Koz, that's good, but you know, I don't necessarily know you. Why should I do that? I mean, we are not necessarily friends. We are, but as an example, if we are not friends, why should I do this for you? And at the same time, what can happen is that maybe I don't have anything to give you. But what if I have a third-party entity, friend, or business who can do something for you?
Sure.
So it could be even a 3-way. So don't give up just because you cannot give back. You might know somebody who gives back. I mean, in all seriousness, once I have a good friend who's a dentist, and I needed help with my joint venture from a business, and it just didn't work out. But later on when we were chatting, the guy needed a dentist. So joint ventures could really work, and I highly recommend to think about joint ventures. It's a very interesting field of marketing.